Yes. I'd like to lodge a complaint. That happened a little while back, and I was given this number here to call.
Yeah, is this about a member of municipal police force or the RCMP?
Municipal.
And what force?
Halifax Regional Police, I believe.
Okay, so to initiate the formal process, I've got to get a form to you. I can mail it, fax it, scan it, and email it. What's best for you?
Is the form, if you email the form, is it interactive?
It is not.
It's not interactive, so I would have to print it and fill it out?
I shouldn't say that. It depends on if I can find a copy that's not PDF.
Okay.
Did you want it to be interactive? Like, you want me to see if I can get a Word copy?
If it could be interactive, I'd like that.
I will do my best, sir.
Okay.
Where am I sending it to?
AFRRO, the number 1,
Yep.
at gmail.com.
AFRRO.
Oh.
01
Right.
at gmail.com.
Correct.
Not 0, but O.
Yes, like Afro with...
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So, I will send that off to you, within the next, 5-10 minutes.
I appreciate
I'll do my
that.
best, as I said, to give you a Word copy that you might be able to type into. If not, please feel free to write on the form. If there's not enough room, you can attach a sheet. Keep it as concise as possible with the relevant facts.
Oh, yeah.
Sign it, date it, tell us what the date of incident was that you're complaining about, and if you know the names of the officers, put those on there too. You don't have to, because that will be figured out as things proceed.
Yeah, I know the name of one, but the other one I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I say, it doesn't matter. You can just put one unknown. You'll be notified in writing as to how things are going to proceed.
All right. Now, can you tell me? I've listened to on the radio program. I listened to your police chief on the radio a few times.
Yeah, it's not our chief. Just to let you know, there's a difference. We're a provincial agency. We're completely separate from the police. We have no former police officers working at this office.
There's no police officers there at all.
Well, I shouldn't say that. We have got a contract investigator who retired 12 years ago who used to be a police officer, but in this physical office on a day-to-day basis, no.
So what is this office comprised of then? What does its agents consist of?
Civil servants, public servants, right? We work for the province.
No titles?
Oh, yeah, of course. We've got the commissioner. She's appointed by the government for a term of 3 years and may be reappointed. We have myself.
So I'm talking...
We've got complaint intake.
Like for investigative backgrounds or anything like that, education-wise. You know what I mean? Like, to be there, do you have to have a certain knowledge of Anglo-Saxon laws?
Well, it's an interesting question, and it's a very specific and kind of a niche specialty, right? And so we get sent to annual conferences. I've been sent on investigative training, things of that nature, but it's tough to find somebody with an investigative background that doesn't have a policing background, right? Who hasn't
I understand that.
Kind of schooling. Yeah.
I understand that. So the thing about it is, like, I'd like to know, because I talk to a lot of people that, like, for myself personally, I'm not the average the average person that walks these streets. I have a strong, and I took an initiative. I took 8 years of my life to take out a strong awareness of Anglo-Saxon laws and to know who they apply to and who they are being forced on. And my individual group of people, these laws have been and still are being forced upon us, just because that we do not know that they don't apply to us. Now, me as an indigenous individual, and not indigenous as you define it, because you have a specific definition of individual as indigenous. You tell me that indigenous, under your understanding or your Anglo laws, they tell me that it's these people that are Inuits and Micmacs and Métis and whatnot. But you know what really has me in an uproar is the willful ignorance of the people who work in these agencies, who work in this thing that they call justice, who pretend that they don't have an idea of justice, and they don't have a clue who things apply to. Now, me personally, I just have to look and read just a couple of your acts to show that who these things apply to. For instance, the Public Prosecutions Act is very clear on who a prosecutor can prosecute. And it's not any member of the public. It's very specific. And it tells you under Section 11, that's only a small act. It's only 5 pages, unlike a lot of these other acts that I've read that are thousands and thousands of pages. And I've read hundreds of thousands of these acts. And I had to, so I can have a strong understanding of where these people are going and how they're really controlling the people out here through ignorance and language. And when I come to people and I use their own civil language to have a discussion, now it pretends like, oh, I don't really understand what you're talking about now all of a sudden. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get this it's almost like a snake tongue. If I'm ignorant and I'm coming and looking for information, it's no problem. I get a bunch of information, no problem. But if I have a strong knowledge of a people's occupation, now it's all of a sudden no one understands what's going on anymore. It's like now I'm dealing with ignorant citizens. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I understand under the criminal code that you're under no obligation. I believe it's 760 or 747 or something foolish like that. It tells you that the government's under no obligation to inform the people of certain exemptions. Right? If I'm exempt from something of these here institutions, I'm obligated to prove it. But when I bring that proof, my proof is now. When I went to court to deal with this here instance, what I'm calling you about, which I got dismissed, by the way, I got it dismissed. But the thing about it is, the judge was so ignorant that I didn't even want to even try to deal with it and try to deal with the issue at hand then. Because, like I said, I shouldn't be calling the police commission to deal with a police officer when there's laws already in place. The criminal code's here in Canada, and it's in place for these officers. And it's the Prosecutions Act in place for these officers. And it's amazing to me that I don't see any officers going through this court system, especially when they're violating people's rights like mine, who I know who can order me around, who can give me rights. And I don't take orders from no constable. There's not a constable on this street that gives me an order. Who can give me an order? Not one. Especially when you know what a constable is. We're using terms and don't have a clue what they even mean. An animal control officer is now out here giving people orders. When the people understand that under Anglo laws, people are nothing but animals. And you got to upgrade to slavery and work for the government and be a slave. And everybody else are animals. You got to upgrade. Right here in Nova Scotia, I go through the court histories of our people trying to escape from the control of government. And every time, what they call it, slavery. Now, I look through the court records and I see that there's a man that tried to escape slavery here in Nova Scotia, and he was denied and went right back to his owner. Now, they tell us that slavery is abolished. Slavery is not abolished. There's no such thing as slavery being abolished here when the citizen is a slave. It's amazing to me what you can find in a dictionary when you open it up. And a simple dictionary will tell you that a citizen's a slave, automatic. And my people are not slaves here. And my people have no obligation to the crown under no circumstances. So when a police officer approaches my people with this here foolishness, street checks, or any other check, you have no business even approaching none of our people out here, asking them anything. Because it's none of your concerns. There's not a constable out here that has any business approaching any of our people. None. Or they must have forgot their Donald Marshall report. They must have forgotten it. Because there's things even in that there. There's recommendations made in that document. 82 of them, I believe. And only, I believe, 3 or 4 of them from a standpoint from our community has been met. And one of them was that Public Prosecutions Act. One of them was that. One of them was that Public Prosecutions Act. For what reason that was put in place? To protect our community and let our community know who they are supposed to be attacking. And not only the police officers out here manipulating the community on behalf of the crown, these lawyers are too. That's the first line of defense. Are the lawyers out here who are pulling our people into this here system, telling them that you must obey the crown, but can't show us where we're obligated to obey some crown. We're under no obligation. We haven't taken any oath. We haven't done anything to be subjugated to these people, only through words. And that's it. You can't show me any act in your Constitution. You can only show me the Indian Act. There's no Black Act, and I refuse for anyone to call me that. You see, we have a problem here with being properly identified, so that these constables will not encounter a person like me again, who knows who we are. And there's a lot of us out here. There's not just me, and I'm not just one individual. I'm a guy who's formulating, who is actually bringing my community together under the proper identity that was taken away from us under this here colonial nonsense in the first place. And I refuse to have any constable, any employee of the crown, no matter what their status is or what they believe it is, approach any of our people out here with anything and try to tell them that they're obligated to obey any Anglo-Saxon out here on these streets for any obligation, for any reason whatsoever. And until one of you or any of you can show me and produce a document where my people agreed to be subjects, British subjects to be exact, if you can show me that document, then any complaint that's lodged with my people against any of your agencies should be acted upon with immediates. With expedience. It should be expedient. It should be right on it. Boom. No, sorry. Done. But no, we have them lodged in our communities. We have constables lodged in our communities chasing our people around out here like animals out here with animals. And having us believe that we're free. That's the problem what I have out here today. That's the bigger problem than what I had with this dismissal and being brought into chains by an officer who refused to listen. No one's going to put me in chains again. It took me too long to sit back and realize I've been duped all these years. Living on my own land, being duped. That's going to stop. That's going to stop. And that's why I want this here form.
Yes, and I will send that to you to the email address as discussed.
I appreciate it. What was your name again?
Jeff Garber, Garber.
Thank you, Jeff. And just to let you know, Jeff, all my conversations with all civil servants are recorded. So,
yeah, sure,
just to let you know. And it's not for your protection or anything other. Only for truthfulness. That's all. Just for truthfulness. To make them to have some accountability, because I know what it is, what's going down. I know the whole game plan. I already know it, but I want to make sure that I'm not that someone's going to sit back and try to dupe me or try to tell me something or try to give me some nonsense on something that I don't want to hear. I don't want to try to be convinced of something otherwise, or someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong about something or that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's not going to happen. Unless somebody can produce some proof. You understand? So that's the reason why I record these calls.
Thank you for telling me.
All right. And I appreciate the help that you gave me here today, and I'll be looking forward to that their email.
You're welcome.
You have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Who you talking?
Police Commission.
What? Need to know that guy?